Did they know what they were doing in trying to screw their sibling out of an inheritance? Or were they just really that clueless? Hi, Jeff Masachi, the Plain English Attorney, and this is going to be a little bit of a different video. I am actually looking for your help. I'm looking for your opinions on a case. Obviously, I can't disclose names. I can't be so specific with details that it could identify the client because I have a duty of confidentiality to the client, even though they're no longer a client. Here was the situation. Years ago, I set up a revocable living trust for a husband and wife, and they had 3 pieces of real estate. They had some investments. They have 2 children, one of whom is a special needs beneficiary, and this becomes important. So it was kind of set up so everything would go 50-50 to the kids. The special needs beneficiary was going to have their share held in trust by the trustee, which was the other child. I'm going to refer to this other child as the accountant child.
If you think it's important for educational videos like this to get out there, then please help us out by subscribing to the channel.
Because that's the profession that they're in. So we started out with the actual accountant child in that first meeting, set everything up, and don't move these 2 properties because we're working on some kind of tax deal. All right. Go forward, put things together. I move the residence into the trust. Everything's done, do the funding. A little later they came, I got a call from the wife. Hey, yeah, we can't do this. I talked with my accountant child and they said we can't do this because this property has some special tax use, and that's as far as I'm going to go with describing it. So I was like, but this is your residence. This is what you're leaving to your son. And the other properties are to go to the accountant child. And it's like, well, this is what they said. I'm like, look, we need another meeting. So husband and wife came in, sat down, went through everything with them. And I'm like, this just doesn't sound right to me. Oh, well, these properties are going to go into a limited liability company as part of a business to get this special use. I'm like, look, that's fine, but you need to make sure that you're protecting your special needs child. Because the way this is starting to sound, it's like your other child could just get everything. Oh, no, that's not what they're going to do. So this is where the question is going to come in, because I tend to be a lot more assuming the good in people, even though my radar was going off on this. So what we did protection-wise was, since mom and dad were going to own 50% of the limited liability company, the 50% of the limited liability company was going to go into the trust and stay in the trust for the special needs beneficiary. So it's their company interests. So if it was part of the company interests, it would go there for this beneficiary. And of course, the accountant child and their spouse had the other 50%. The other 2 properties were going to the accountant child and the spouse. However, if it was going to go into the LLC, it would have been going to the son. There were no deed changes, no nothing. Well, husband passes on, and he was really the one who was more concerned that something might not be right because mom was trusting the accountant child. Well, the mom comes in, brings the accountant child. We need to make some changes here. And I'm talking with, what does the mom want? And then the accountant child shows up and they start arguing with me. It's no, the company has to come to me. Well, wait a minute. What about the special needs beneficiary child? Oh, but they're getting the house. I'm looking at the deeds. There were no other deeds. And the deeds were mom and dad, 50%, accountant child, and spouse, 50%. There was no right of survivorship between them. But again, the trust was saying those two properties, other than the residence, were going to them. But the limited liability company interests were going to go to the special needs beneficiary. No, that's all going to come to me. I was like, well, what about the special needs benefit? Well, they're getting the house. I'm like, well, the house is titled as you getting 50%. Well, that's not just the house. It's everything. And part of that is the land in the LLC. Well, but you're saying the LLC is it's going to go to 100% to you. There's no title changes here. What's going on? Well, I can go to tax court because we've got years of returns showing that this land is on. And I'm like, go to tax court. Go to probate and estates are about title ownership, and they're screaming and yelling, almost literally screaming, that they can go to court and show that this is in the limited liability. What's to prevent them from arguing after mom's dead that all of it is in the limited liability company? And she's like, you just need to do the changes that I'm telling you to do. Oh, no. This is where I kind of shut things down and I said, look, no. This is going to end up in court. You have 3 pieces of property that are not titled in the trust or the LLC. Well, I can go to tax court. 27 years I've been doing this. I've never seen an estate that wasn't a huge mess, absolute mess, where the title was in the proper place, either in a trust or in a limited liability company. So this is the question. After that, I had to throw them out. But the question is, did the accountant just not know what they were doing and had absolutely no idea about estates? Because they also said, well, I've been to court and I've testified in tax court about these things. Did they know what they were doing in trying to screw their sibling out of an inheritance? Or were they just really that clueless about the estate piece of it because they were so tunnel vision on taxes? That's the question that I wanted to ask to you. Now, this ended up with something that I didn't want it to go this way, but it had to. I had to ask the daughter to leave so I could talk to the mom. Absolutely refused. Third time I stood up and I said, I need you to go. I can't help and then I turned to the widow, I cannot help you. You need an attorney that does both estate planning and does litigation, because that's where this is going to end up. And then I said to the accountant child, you need to leave now, or I'm going to have my office manager call the police to remove you. And they just looked so shocked. I'm like, this is the third time, get out. And so they had to leave. So I hate that I couldn't help them. But the widow was kind of going along with what the accountant child was saying. And they were trying to structure the documents in a way that I know wasn't going to get to what mom was telling me she wanted. So please help me out here. Go ahead and comment below. Do you think this accountant child was trying to screw their special needs sibling out of their share of the estate? Or were they just clueless? Let me know. And if there are any other moral dilemmas out there, especially if it's from attorneys and you want me to just kind of talk through it with you, go ahead and comment on that below too. So as I always tell my clients, please stay safe, plan ahead, and enjoy life. And whatever you do, make it a great day.